And
1 minute remaining.
pardon me?
1 minute remaining.
I'm wrapping it up. At the end of the day, how does this benefit Walton County? A decision to give a variance. And it questions leadership when someone can't take responsibility for what happened in a meeting.
Wind it down.
And wants to throw another, how about just the rules apply to everyone? A 20-foot setback on a street and we're going to let one building on the street have basically a 5-foot setback. And this is our county planner. A vision for the future is implied in his name of his position.
Let's stick to the policy. Let's keep this.
Well, I mean, instead of taking the responsibility for this decision himself, he wants to throw Mr. Corman under the bus and say that he was
Let's stick to the policy. Let's not be personal. Let's
I'm
not
going with, all I can tell you is my personal conversation with Mr. Schoen. Nothing has physically changed except ownership of a lot next door. By this theory, you could buy the rest of the property on the street and it becomes a 7-foot setback for everybody. This is crazy.
So I think
this is not in the nature of the way the law was interpreted, why it's been proved out the way it is. And quite frankly, here's another problem. The man had every chance to stop building, but didn't choose to do so. He purposely kept building till it was finished. Then after that, went through due process and lost at every turn. It was a very real and imminent threat, and I want the man 20 feet away from me, please. Not 5 feet away.
Mr. Douglas, 1 second.
To not consider that.
Mr. Douglas, you're out of order. Mr. Gladwell, would you like
Yes, sir.
To remedy this, and he's accrued $40,000 in fines that haven't been paid. How in the world does he get a permit?
I guess he paid for one of those $27.50
Mr. Douglas, please be respectful to the board. The board is being respectful to you. We want to give everybody equal treatment, just like you're suggesting in the form of a policy change. The same is happening here. Mr. Douglas, 1 second.
I'm asking
Mr. Kellerman, Mr. Douglas, would you please show some restraint, sir? Okay. And that's the remedy that you're seeking, sir,
Please.
correct? Okay, yeah.
I mean, just 20-foot setback on my street. Don't make up some kind of weird rule or give somebody an out.
Mr. Douglas, you recognize Mark, one S, two S's.
Douglass, Mark Douglas. I'm a resident of Santa Rosa Beach, lifelong Walton County resident via Defuniak Springs. I just want to share an experience with the public about having to make a code complaint against a neighbor. Unfortunately, a pole barn was erected near my home across the street with no setback, in violation of, several codes. I called code. This was on November 17th of last year. And they came out on the 18th, made an assessment, did find the violator, that he had violated several codes, was told to stop building. At this point, it's only a structure with no sides. As the months continued, this neighbor continued to build the pole barn and basically completed it. And code came out on multiple occasions telling him to stop. He didn't choose to do so. It went to a code compliance hearing in April, and again was found in violation, told to become under compliance or face a $250 a day fine after June 30th. It was taken to the Zoning Board of Adjustment, again found in non-compliance. They didn't go along with it. and were a little more specific, telling him to remove the pole barn and the concrete by June 30th, or come under compliance. Unfortunately, whenever this came down, my wife and I were instantly the victims of death threats by this violator. And he was trespassed off our property for threatening to kill us and burn down our house. That threat has been repeated several times over the months, as he basically blames me for his problems. Even after all of these judgments came down the pike, and he owes Walton County $40,000 and $40,500 as of today. He met with the new planning director, Stephen Schoen, in a closed-door meeting in which he came up with I would like to say it's a scheme, to get by with a 7-foot setback instead of the normal 20-foot setback on my street. And was basically kind of with a promissory note of a code reduction. Mind you, nothing has occurred since then as far as him moving the barn, moving the concrete. Nothing has occurred. In fact, he's working on the outside of this structure, security lights, and never a site inspection, no permit, just complete rogue construction. And
1 minute remaining.
pardon me?
1 minute remaining.
I'm wrapping it up. Basically, Mr. Schoen told me that in a closed-door meeting, he met with the perpetrator himself, Mr. Corman, and an architect and a lawyer. And they hashed out a plan for him to get by with a 7-foot setback. When I tried to get confirmation about that, I asked Mr. Corman. He wasn't at the meeting. I just got to ask a few questions right now. Is this leadership? When I finally get Mr. Schoen on the phone after 3 weeks of trying to contact me, you know, he told Mr. Kellenberger, I was rude to him on the phone. I was blunt. And I asked a few specific questions. At the end of the day, how does this benefit Walton County, a decision to give a variance after all the other judgments have come down the pike? It doesn't. And it questions leadership when someone can't take responsibility for what happened in a meeting.
Wind it down.
And wants to throw another department head under the bus. And
Are there any questions from the board for Mr. Douglas? Mr. Kellenberg, would you like to, do you have any comments?
I'll keep it short. So I've had a couple of conversations with Mr. Douglas as well as Mr. Schoen and Mr. Cornman. Mr. Douglas is correct. There was a building built without a permit. Code came out and took code enforcement action against it. It ended up in the magistrate's court. The magistrate ruled on it. One of the opportunities to cure was to seek a variance. He took that opportunity. The ZBA, Zoning Board of Adjustment, denied his variance. He then acquired some more property. He met with Mr. Schoen. Mr. Schoen, in concert with our land development code, did basically the lot reoriented itself because he had more property. This is in a Santa Rosa plantation that was platted in the 1920s, I believe. And Mr. Douglas is correct. There was some incorrect maneuvers by a neighbor, but I believe our departments have done what they can under their rules and regulations and policies to service the people of Walton County. It has not come out to Mr. Douglas's favor or his desire, but oftentimes when we have to do the job that we're asked to do, we have to follow the rules and policies that are set forth. In the case of the Land Development Code, Mr. Schoen followed that. In the case of the Code Enforcement Department, I think Mr. Corman did what's available to him under that code. So
Where are we with due process and enforcement? What's the lay it out for us?
So the neighbor that has built the building has obtained a permit. That permit has terms and conditions within it that would make him compliant within the Land Development Code as determined by Mr. Schoen. He has, I believe, 6 months to do that.
Are we comfortable that staff has worked with Mr. Douglas following the policies and procedures? Are we abiding by that timeline and schedule and process?
So I've not been privy to all of the intimate actions of each department. What I've understood from emails and discussions is that we have, with those departments, we have done what is available to us under our policies, codes, and Florida statute.
What is left that you would ask of us?
I'm sorry.
What is left, what is remaining that you would ask of us?
Well,
Or
right
the
now,
policy
I'm
decision.
just asking that the system should work. That after you've had 2 quasi-judicial hearings with public input, there shouldn't be a closed-door hearing made
It sounds like we're on the clock,
where a
right?
decision is made where we ignore the 20-foot setback that was heavily debated in the Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting. In fact, if you've ever watched any of these meetings, that's what they debate 65% of the time is setbacks and right-of-ways. You must look at this thing on this street. It is overpowering the street. 5 foot back is not going to make any difference. And how about just the rules apply to everyone? A 20-foot setback on a street, and we're going to let one building on the street have basically a 5-foot setback. And I'm just going to say this, I asked Stephen Schoen flat out, what about a future street improvement project that might take place here? His response was, what kind of street improvement project will ever take place on that street? This is our county planner. A vision for the future is implied in his name of his position.
Let's stick to the policy. Let's keep this.
Well, I mean, as policy, you should be following the law. As I understand, I talked to Matt Carpenter and.
Mr. Douglas, 1 second. Mr. Atkinson, where are we at in application of the law?
It appears this time, per what Mr. Kellenberger said, that we are following the process. This person's been given a permit by planning as a way of coming into voluntary compliance, and they have a time frame to do that. So I think in terms of following the law, we have to honor what staff has done at this point in time.
Okay.
That's
And
where we
another
are.
thing I would like to say, he's telling me that Mr. Corman was here, our code director. He tells me he wasn't. I believe Mr. Corman. In other words, instead of taking the responsibility for this decision himself, he wants to throw Mr. Corman under the bus and say
Listen,
that he was
let's stick to the
compliant.
policy. Let's not be personal. Let's
I'm
not act
going with,
conjecture.
all I can tell you is my personal conversation with Mr. Schoen. If he's, again, this questions the leadership at the planning department and the organizational. He's gotten up here on many occasions to tell you always get a call back. Well, it takes 3 weeks if it's going to be an unpleasant conversation, I can tell you.
Is there any additional questions or comments from the board? Commissioner Jones, you recognized.
Thank you. Yeah, I would just like to say that I believe that what happened was this individual bought another piece of property, so he reoriented this pole barn. And so it was 2.5 feet away from initially.
Which is
They told him he has to move it back 5 feet, so that would be the 7.5-foot standard side setback. And so he's got, I believe right now, he was given 6 months. It's been 1 month. I don't think he's done anything from what I understand. So he's got 5 months to move that back 5 feet.
Does this stop the clock on the $250 a day fine?
I don't know.
I mean, there has to be a backroom sweetheart deal about fine reduction, or he wouldn't be waiting 6 months to do something. This doesn't make sense.
Mr. Atkinson, articulate the fine policy.
fines accrue unless they are abated, and I believe Mr. Kellenberger just addressed that in this circumstance, they were abated to allow him to do this.
Mr. Gladwell, you recognize.
On the other hand, you know, it's sort of like some people get the rules popped at them and some people don't. And just to abate this with nothing being done to satisfy the underlying complaint just seems premature at best.
So there has been something done. So the process is there's a code violation, code enforcement takes action, they give the guy a opportunity to cure. That's part of the Florida statute on code enforcement. He didn't do that, he got taken to the magistrate. Magistrate hears the case, rules on it, and gave him opportunities to cure. One of those was to seek a variance. He has accrued some fines that he'll have to pay or go back to the magistrate if there's no more violations of the code. He can then ask for a reduction in fine. It'll be up to the magistrate to decide on that. But in the meantime, he has obtained the permit, he has obtained more land. Due to the nature and the time of when the original plat was approved, developed, it's the old Santa Rosa plantation. Sometimes our land development code has to be reviewed and see how it is applicable to these different neighborhoods, subdivisions, lots of recorded plat and when they were done. And so in that, because you're familiar with the grid of streets down there in the Santa Rosa plantation off of Chad Holly, it's a grid, a traditional grid. So now he has a piece of land that also fronts on another street. And so I believe that Mr. Schoen's determination is what is the front of the lot now and what is the side of the lot?
Nothing has physically changed except ownership of a lot next door. By this theory, you could buy the rest of the property on the street and it becomes a 7-foot setback for everybody. This is crazy.
So I think
this is not in the nature of the way the law was interpreted, why it's been proved out the way it is. And quite frankly, here's another problem. The man had every chance to stop building, but didn't choose to do so. He purposely kept building till it was finished. Then after that, went through due process and lost at every turn.
And he's
Had 30 days to appeal that decision, but didn't choose to do so.
He has $40,000 worth of fines accrued because of that decision.
At the end of the day, nothing has changed, and the man's still heckling me and my wife that can't get up and down the stairs, and being threatened to have your house burned down on a regular basis is a very real and imminent threat, and I want the man 20 feet away from me, please. Not 5 feet away.
Mr. Douglas, 1 second.
To not consider that.
Mr. Douglas, you're out of order. Mr. Gladwell, would you like?
Yes, sir.
How did he get a permit?
So
if he's lost twice and he's done absolutely nothing to remedy this, and he's accrued $40,000 in fines that haven't been paid, how in the world does he get a permit?
I guess he paid for one of those $27.50
Mr. Douglas, please be respectful to the board. The board is being respectful to you. We want to give everybody equal treatment, just like you're suggesting in the form of a policy change. The same is happening here. Mr. Douglas, 1 second.
I'm asking
Mr. Douglas, would you please show some restraint, sir? Okay, Mr. Kellenberger, you had an additional comment.
Right. So we have provisions to answer Mr. Gladwell's question, Commissioner Gladwell's question. We have provisions within our land development code, within our policies and procedures with planning review and what I call a single-family dwelling development order, which is our building permit review, and our building permit review, because more than we like it, this situation occurs where a person decides to do something without the appropriate approvals. We have mechanisms where they come in and they don't get them for the same price. In the case of a building permit, if you have to seek a building permit after the fact, I believe it's double the permit fee. But what has happened is there was a non-compliant issue. Those non-compliant issues have been addressed by the code and by the magistrate. And the magistrate has given the person that has a non-compliant situation an opportunity to fix that. All right, so fixing that is obtaining a permit that works within our land development code. And that is what has happened. Is it palatable to all concerned? It's certainly not. And part of that comes with, some ambiguities or inconsistencies in our land development code. But in the end, the process has worked to the best of its ability and how we want it to work. Non-compliant situation identified, action taken against it. A judge that we have asked to rule on these has ruled on it and given the person opportunity to cure or to fix the problem. He has done that.
I think what Commissioner Gladwell is underscoring is that I don't think it's the desire of this board, and I can't speak for everyone, but I don't think that we want to establish a policy of ask for forgiveness later. And we want to make sure that our system is airtight and that if there are people that are trying to game, am I on the right track?
You're on the right track.
If people are trying to game the system, or if they're trying to get a leg up, or they just mark the maneuver as a cost of doing business, then, we should address that.
Okay.
We should be proactive. Is that kind of the direction that you're going with this? And that's the remedy that you're seeking, sir,
Please.
Correct? Okay, yeah.
I think
Yeah, just 20-foot setback on my street. Don't make up some kind of weird rule or give somebody an out that has done nothing to come under compliance. I mean, wouldn't you start if you were told you were under non-compliance, wouldn't you start trying to come under compliance instead of fighting it every inch of the way and being bound and determined to get your way? And if I can't get it by honest means, I'll find it some backdoor way in. So
Okay, so
thank you for your time.
I think-
I appreciate this.
I think where we are, just kind of summarize things, is that while albeit government may be slow, and it may not be perfect, but the infraction was identified. It's now within the internal enforcement system and mechanism of Walton County code enforcement. It is now navigating itself through or traveling through the judicial process. And so we're at that stage where we wait for remedy.
Thank you.
And with that, we'll have all eyes watching. Mr. Johnson, there's no motion, so there's no audience participation.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yes.
Sorry that ran long.